All right. D. McClung, Ultra Monologues. Got a good one. Here you go. Malcolm X. Listen up.
That his life was in danger.
See, you can kill a man, but Malcolm was executed.
There were powerful forces, I did detect this, inside the community and outside the community that were pulling on him.
From the first time I ever heard Malcolm speak publicly.
Well, anytime you live in a society supposedly based upon law,
listen carefully
and
to
it
this.
doesn't enforce its own law because the color of a man's skin happens to be wrong, then I say those people are justified to resort to any means necessary to bring about justice where the government can't give them justice.
Heard Malcolm speak publicly.
Listen again.
Well, anytime you live in a society supposedly based upon law, and it doesn't enforce its own law because the color of a man's skin happens to be wrong, then I say those people are justified to resort to any means necessary
Any
to bring
means
about justice
necessary.
where the government can't give them justice.
Any means necessary.
I knew that this was a black man that they would kill.
He's not going to be able to get away with this. Now he is in danger.
And he was slaughtered. You don't do an animal like that.
I wanted you to know that my house was bombed. It was bombed by the Black Muslim movement upon the orders of Elijah Muhammad.
I don't have any knowledge of anyone trying to kill Malcolm.
The nation doesn't do things like that.
Are you not, perhaps, afraid of what might happen to you as a result of making these revelations?
Oh, yes. I probably am a dead man already.
Yeah. Now, I don't necessarily agree with everything everybody says that I like to say, like, I'm just saying, by any means necessary. That means if you're being
We would attend the meetings,
murdered,
gather the pamphlets, listen to the speeches, record the speeches, and then wiretap and use search warrants. So we were monitoring the individuals and the organizations. We wanted to know what they were up to. We had this young black male, Ray Wood, and he was going to be a cop. So we approached him before he was sworn in and said, "We'd like you to work for us. The Bureau of Special Services will swear you in secretly, keep all your files separate, and then we just want you to go to Harlem and hang out."
by any means necessary. Now, Malcolm X said that. Malcolm X was executed. And you think it was, some black folk did that? You think it was even, some of his own people? Or do you think maybe the government did it? Mm-hmm. So, well, ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Yeah, ha ha ha. Get it? Let me be clear on this. The United States government and all of its little collaborators in the States is a criminal enterprise. Evil. Evil beyond comprehension sometimes. Oh, you think they're going to assassinate me for saying this? Well, let me tell you. If a couple of million people in this country start listening to me, yep, I'm going to have to think about that bulletproof vests and bulletproof cars and bulletproof houses and shit. These motherfuckers would not hesitate to murder me or anybody else because they do it every day. They do all kinds of things every day. It's on and on and on and on every day. They don't make a secret of it. You fuck with them, they kill you. How many cases do we have to go through to get that conclusion? Unarmed man on the street, shot in the back, cop, murderer. unarmed man walking in the snow beside his car at an ambush set up by the fucking government criminal agents. Shot him dead. Murdered him. And it was recorded. And the video was broadcast on the internet. For everyone to see. Why do you think the police revealed this? Why do you think the police released the police video of a man being murdered in broad daylight? Why do you think they let that video become to public? Why do you think? As a warning. It's like, here, you fuck with us, freedom fighter, lover of freedom, American patriot, and we'll shoot you down like a dog in broad daylight, and we'll fucking get away with it too. Do I need to repeat that? Do I need to say it again slower? The video was on the internet. It's been circulated around. I've shared it a dozen times myself on Facebook and so on. Oddly enough, I never get any responses. Are you so desensitized by the crimes against humanity of your government that you don't even have a thought? You don't even have a feeling? When someone shows you a video, a police video, by the way, a video shot by the police themselves. It's like the dash camera on a police car, turned on and aimed at the car in front of the police car, when an innocent person in that car is shot to death by a fucking Nazi police state bastard on video, on film, on record. Dead man, innocent, in his car, dragged out of his car, handcuffed, beaten, into a fucking coma. And then shot, bam, 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 dead by a fucking cop. And you think, oh, well, and you have nothing to say about that? Are you in a fucking coma? Yes, I'm angry. Yes, I'm angry. And I'm yelling, and I'm ranting, and I'm cussing. Why? Because I'm angry. Why are you not angry? Seriously. What, are you like brain dead? How could you not have a thought about this? How can you not react when you see a fucking cop shoot a man in the back? Bam, 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 dead. I'm not talking about black folk. I'm not talking about a cop shooting a black man. It doesn't matter what color you are. The pigs will shoot you dead. Doesn't matter what color you are. What matters is that maybe you said something that shows them in a bad light. Like, let's point out the guy who shot and murdered a man in cold blood in the snow in Oregon. A man who had no gun, who was not making any effort to resist arrest, who was not doing anything hostile towards anyone. Because in the first place, he was standing out on a bank after they'd run his car off the road at an ambush set up by the police. He got out of the car. Basically, he got out of the car because the car was full of other people and he didn't want them to get hurt. I'm guessing. I don't know for a fact. But I'm guessing he got out of the car to save his people. Because I guess he probably figured, and I'm guessing, I'm speculating, I have no idea what was going through the man's mind, but I know for a fact he didn't have a gun in his hand. No gun. Didn't see a gun. He might have had a gun in his pocket. It might have been holstered on the side of his pants underneath his coat. But there was no gun in his hand, and his hands were up in the air. So, hey, excuse me? Can't use that excuse, copper. You can't say, oh, he had a gun. Bullshit. You can't say, oh, he was a threat to me. He was in a fucking snow up to his knees with his hands in the air. And you're like lurking in the bushes. You knew damn well what you were doing. Why would you have a sniper in the fucking woods at a fucking roadblock if you hadn't planned on shooting this man? Was he that dangerous? Some farmer? I'm angry. I'm very angry. And you should be angry. And why you're not angry makes me even more angry. How can you not be upset? How can you not be pissed off? What the fuck's wrong with you? Are you absolutely dumb-brained? Dumb-brained? Zombie. Mindless zombie. Sorry to say, people. So anyway, Malcolm X. Bam, 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 dead. Who did it? I'm gonna guess here. It wasn't me. It wasn't the neighbors. It wasn't some black guy that said, I'm guessing, government agents. I'm speculating. But who does such things? I don't know. Government agents, mostly. I'm going to turn it back on the audio here.
There was a very, very close relationship between the FBI and the NYPD, and they had an agent assigned to the Bureau of Special Services on a daily basis. He collected everything we had and gave us the time of day, period.
Malcolm had become a high priority target. FBI files revealed the strategies used to monitor his movements, as well as placing informants in key positions. High-ranking Nation of Islam members were routinely relaying information to FBI agents.
The FBI was always with us, investigating us ever since 1931, according to them. Hoover had been investigating us ever since we started, and they named a couple individuals, and one of them was very close to us.
J. Edgar Hoover, piece of shit.
Are you prepared to go into the United Nations at this point and ask that charges be brought against the United States for its treatment of American Negroes?
Oh, yes.
Absolutely.
He opened our eyes to the fact that our human rights were being denied to us.
As I pointed out when I was during my travel, that nations look, African nations and Asian nations and Latin American nations look very hypocritical when they stand up in the United Nations condemning the racist practices of South Africa and that which is practiced by Portugal and Angola, and saying nothing in the UN about the racist practices that are manifest every day against Negroes in this society. The only way you could deal with a man like that is kill him, because you never knew what he was going to do.
Our biggest concern was that he and Elijah would reconcile.
But whatever he was going to do would not be beneficial to the powers that be.
So what you and I have got to do is get involved. You and I have to be right there breathing down their throat. Every time they look over their shoulder, we want them to see us.
How he would die, I didn't know, but I knew they would have to get rid of him. He had the truth. He was unafraid. And wherever Malcolm went, he spoke the truth.
And that our problem is not an American problem, it's a human problem.
I don't want to witness what's going to take place.
Elijah Muhammad, the head of the movement, is the father of 8 children by 6 different teenage girls. 6 different teenage girls who were his private personal secretary.
From the moment that he spoke those words, the Nation of Islam began to die.
A lot of people just didn't care for Malcolm after what he did.
And the fact that they had to organize 5 shooter assassins indicates to me the existence of an organizational plot that may or may not have been inspired by Elijah Muhammad.
Nobody had to give an order for Malcolm, to harm Malcolm or threaten him.
We were certain it was going to come, but I, for instance, never thought it would be in the order about order.
There you have it. Little snip from BrassCheckTV.com. BrassCheckTV.com. I strongly recommend you subscribe to BrassCheckTV.com. All right. So, Malcolm X was murdered by somebody. The powers that be, shall we say. I'm not going to get into all of these different things, like who killed John Kennedy? Oh, well, is there any doubt? All right, drop some names here. George Walker Bush was in Dallas on the day that Kennedy was shot. In fact, he was on the scene, the crime scene. We have witnesses, we have testimony, we have documentation. The head of the CIA. What was he doing there, and did he have a gun on him when they saw him on the grassy knoll shooting the president in the head? Malcolm X, Robert Kennedy. A lot of people died. A lot of people were murdered. John Kennedy's mistress was murdered by the CIA or the FBI. Now, see, I don't have any evidence. I can't give you any evidence. I can't give you any proof in any concrete form. But I've read the books. I've read the documentation. I've read the stories. No reason why anybody would murder a woman as she was out jogging, an artist, by the way, jogging, shot and killed, murdered. Never found out who did it, except that there were witnesses who pointed fingers at who did it, and that guy who was an agent for the fucking government disappears. You know, a shadow, an assassin, an employee of the government. Do some research on that. You can find it. It's on the internet. Don't be damn lazy. Don't be lazy. Look it up. I mean, after all, the cops today in America, and you know what? I'm not going to call them law enforcement because that's a Taliban phrase. That's like, you know, what do they call law enforcement in Nazi Germany? You know, Gestapo, Stasi. Think about it. So they want us to get used to calling the coppers law enforcement because of why? Because they're trying to turn this country into another fucking concentration camp run by fucking Nazis. Duh. You think I'm nuts? I'm one of the sanest people you will ever meet. I guarantee it. It's just that I am so sane and I'm so intelligent that I actually figure, I got a brain. Let me use it and think 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah, what comes after 3? 4. Some things are just obvious, like, what is, the sky is up. Something funny about some things. Somebody doesn't want to question these things. Somebody doesn't want to argue about these things. Oh, yeah, they do. On the internet. Just go on the internet and find somebody. Anybody. They'll argue with you. Oh, I got an opinion. I have a right to my opinion. You know what? No, you don't. If your opinion is wrong, you don't have a right to go around spouting it. You know why? Because it's a lie. You're spreading bullshit. And ignorant, stupid people will believe you. And, naive, gullible, not too bright people will believe you. And that's spreading lies and hysteria and furthering the agenda of the Nazi fucking bastard police state. Collective agenda. Mindbenders. Turning English into babble. You don't believe it? Huh. Really. Let me give you a list of words that are misused and words that are used in such a way that are total opposite or don't even mean what they make them mean nowadays. Words that are like words mean what they mean. I don't care whether you like it or not. I don't care what excuse you have. You can, yeah, it's all a matter of context, Excuse me. No. Well, yeah, but taken in the context of the collective agenda and the police state agenda that is going on in America today. Yeah, you can see the context. And the context is, let's use a word inappropriately. Let's use the wrong word. Let's use a word that doesn't mean what it means. Let's just change the meaning of the word so it means something totally opposite. Let's take the word child. It's codified now. The word child is in a law. And it is defined in the law as anyone under 18. And what boggles the mind, the American people are so stupid, so I'm sorry, most of them, is that they just accept that definition even though that's not what it means. Legal term for someone under 18, a minor. M-I-N-O-R. That's the word. It's always been the word. For as long as I can remember, as long as I've been able to research back, the word minor has always been the word. You don't use child because, 17, 18, 19, 20-year-old is not a child. Not a fucking child. I don't know. I guess a lot of people born after me, like, after about 40 years ago, if you're younger than 40, let's say, you probably don't know the fact that the legal age for adulthood in America, and that means for engaging in contracts, was 21. The age of voting was 21. The age for getting married without parental permission was 21. And they changed that. You know why? Because they needed more people on the voting rolls that were young and stupid because they're easily manipulated and indoctrinated with bullshit, and they'll vote for whoever you tell them to. The bad guys would tell them to. There's a whole paragraph I could write about that, but I'm not going to go into that now. So the word child has been changed. The meaning is no longer a child. It doesn't mean that anymore. Now it means a minor, someone under 18, which is totally fabricated, an arbitrary number, just picked out of thin air. The government does that. We'll make up a law, we'll just make up something. We'll just pretend like it's real when it's not. We'll just call someone under 21 or 18 a child. And then all the people will say, oh my God, a child, it's terrible, you know. And you'll be hysterical because, oh, you heard that somebody had sex with a child. Never mind the fact that this child was 17 years old and 10 months and 49 days, whatever. Never mind that. Totally disregard the fact that the dictionary says a child is someone under the age of 12, if you want to put a number to it, which is also arbitrary because everybody knows that the age of puberty varies, that some girls, for example, start getting breast and pubic hair by the time they're 9 or 10. Biologically speaking, prepubescent, child. That's the definition. That's the biological definition. There is no definition other than that. Any other definition is not correct. Now, I'm not talking about your offspring. If you have a baby, you and your wife or your husband, you get together, you have sex, and he spits some sperm in, and it gets impregnates an egg, and then you have 9 months later, you have a baby come popping out, and then that's your child, that's your offspring. That's the context. But in the context of the Title 18 of the U.S. Code, that has nothing to do with it. That's not the word we're talking about. The context of Title 18 is, we've decided that the biological age of adulthood is 18, even though it's totally contradictory to the laws of nature, totally contradictory to the freaking rules and principles of logic, and certainly opposed to the principles of freedom. The context of, oh, that's my child because I brought him into the world, he popped out of my womb kind of thing, that's not the context we're talking about. Spelled the same way, pronounced the same way, not the same word. When we're talking about a child, in cases of legality, the law must follow the laws of nature and biology. So what is a child? Technically, legally, biologically, factually, outside the context of your offspring, it's a person who is prepubescent, who has not yet begun to develop outward signs of their sexual gender, like tits. Okay, breasts, if you insist. And hair around her vagina. And bleeding from that vagina, like roughly once a month. You're not long a child if you got tits, baby. Sorry, you're not. You're a prepubescent if you're under that and you don't have that. Once you get that, once you start getting breasts, once you get hair around your vagina, once you bleed out of that vagina, you're not a child anymore. Period. Not debatable. I'm not going to argue that because it would be stupid to argue that. And if you want to argue that point from the negative, from the opposite side, you're a fucking idiot. You're ignorant. And obviously a good deal of naive, gullible, and easily manipulated by the mindbenders. Oh yeah, I use the word mindbenders because there are mindbenders. They bend people's minds. They indoctrinate, manipulate, condition. You. Well, hopefully not you. Not me. Probably 98% of Americans have been brainwashed by these mindbenders. They're turning English language into babble. Yeah. And it's easy to see. It's obvious. So unless you're in a coma or you have your head stuck up your ass so far that your colon looks like your brain, yes, I'm angry. I'm angry because these things are being done. The bad things are happening, and people are doing bad things to other people because of these lies, because of this propaganda, because of this agenda, because of this babble, hysteria. How many people are hysterical in America? Not because there's a reason to be hysterical, but because the mind benders have made them hysterical, has manipulated them into being hysterical. Now, let me explain this. If you're hysterical, that's a word that comes under the heading of mentally ill, insane. Oh yeah, I can hear you now. You're saying, oh, after listening to you for the past 30 minutes, I think you're insane, man. You're being hysterical. The detractors are busy. Let's just call him insane. Let's just say he's hysterical, and that sort of negates all the facts and truth that I've just delivered to you in the last 30 minutes. Yep. That's what you think, but it ain't going to work, buddy. Because I'm not hysterical, and you're not going to distract from the thing, the facts, the truth, the reality of what's going on in this country right now. I don't hate Donald Trump, and I don't have any problem with Donald Trump as a person. I mean, he might be obnoxious, he might be a lot of things, but, I'm not. What I'm about to say about him is not based on, some bias or some hysteria. I'm not going to go out protesting against him as president. It's just silly. Not yet, anyway. I mean, wait till he does something really bad. In the meantime, I think it's pretty well understood by anybody who's conscious and paying attention that the man's a lunatic. Let's hope he doesn't destroy the planet. Let's hope he doesn't destroy mankind. But not any more so than anybody else that's been in the White House lately. Obama, George Bush, the most evil living president there is. Well, ex-president. I'd venture to say that Donald Trump is a saint compared to that piece of shit. Crimes against humanity. What's the penalty for that? I think traditionally the penalty for crimes against humanity is once you've been convicted, and George Bush has been convicted here and there. The penalty? Execution. And all somebody say, oh no, you're calling for the execution. Well, yeah, well, it's good enough for them. It's good enough for me. If you're going to kill me, I'm going to kill you back. Oh, you fucking pig Nazi bastard police state motherfuckers ought to keep that in mind. You start shooting at me, I'm going to shoot back. In other words, you better hit me with the first shot, motherfucker. Because I'll get you with the second one. I hope to hell it doesn't come to that. And I admit, I'm just being, sensationalism. I'm just expressing sensationalism here. Getting your attention. I'm saying things that are a little bit outrageous if you want to know the truth. I don't advocate violence. I don't condone violence. There's only one justification for violence in my view. One, if you're a lion, you may act violently against your supper. You have to eat. I understood that. I understand that now. You have to admit there's a certain amount of violence about a lion jumping on a gazelle and ripping its throat out. And then eating it. There's a certain amount of violence involved with defending yourself sometimes. Sometimes you can just defend yourself by holding the gun and saying, I got the gun, don't be violent towards me. It would be difficult. It would be, it just wouldn't be smart to be aggressive towards me. because I might actually consider that a threat to my life and defend myself by shooting you in the kneecaps. I hope I never have to test my resolve to defend myself by using a gun. I really do. I don't ever hope that I never have to do that. I hope it never comes to that. I hope that the government is destroyed and wiped out and reestablished in a legitimate fashion and in a logical, rational, sane, legal, according to the principles of freedom fashion in my lifetime. I kind of doubt it. It's taken over 100 years to create this police state, and I don't think we're going to get rid of it in a couple of days or in a couple of years. It's going to take a long, long fight, a long struggle, a long battle. And the American people are going to have to be inspired to defend themselves against this monster. And I mean defend it aggressively in the sense of we are the people, there's millions of us, and you're not going to be treating us this way anymore, or else. Just remember, the only way to stop a bully is to put him down, because they don't stop on their own. I've never seen a bully in my life that stopped simply because you asked them to. You can look at the United States government. How many times have the American people asked the government to stop being criminals? Stop doing criminal acts. Stop taking away our freedom. Stop engaging in wars of aggression and crimes against humanity and peoples around the world. How many times? How many people have said to the government, to the president, to the senators, and so on, stop doing this. It's wrong. And they keep doing it. So, talk doesn't work. And another note for you folks that think it's okay. Oh, it's okay. The government's cool. It's awesome. It's wonderful. I love it. And I'm a patriot. And I love my country. And I love my government because it's like the best government in the world. And no, it's not. But it's the most evil government in the world at the moment. Because it's larger, basically. There are smaller governments that are pretty evil. But the United States government is the largest evil government on the planet. And I guess if I was in Russia or China, I would say that about my country there. But I'm not Chinese, and I don't live in China, and I'm not a Russian. I don't live in Russia. I'm interested in America and what happens to Americans. And if you're going to be a part of that evil, then, fuck you. So anyway, you heard what MalcolmX said. By any means necessary, defend yourself by whatever means necessary, because it's going to take everything you've got to exercise your right to self-defense, your right to exist, your right to live, your right to exercise your freedom. There's no doubt here. The struggle for freedom today is just as important and it's just as important that we delve into this and put every effort into it, because our lives are at stake. Our freedom is at stake. More so, perhaps, now than ever before in the history of America. Yes, I'm angry. I want you to be angry. But I want to be productively angry. I mean, talking on the show here, the radio show, is I'm doing something. I'm not just sitting, being quiet. I'm not just ignoring the evil. I'm not ignoring the threat against my life and your life and the threat of against America and against humanity and against the world and so on by this evil monster called the United States government. And I'm not just saying that. I'm not trying to be sensationalistic, frivolously. I mean, if you don't know these things, then you've got your head up your ass. Or you're just too nice for your own good. You're gullible and naive, and you're going to let this evil take over the world. It just boggles the mind. All right, I'm done for the rant today on this one. I'll be posting a show later on. I got a few technical difficulties to deal with before I can do it, but those difficulties are not because of the United States government trying to sabotage me. It's because I just have to catch up with the work that I'm a little bit behind on, like a couple of days, because I'm a busy man. All right, so I'll talk to you later. You enjoy your day. And remember, in the mortal words of Thomas Paine, I'm going to quote Thomas Paine, and by doing so, quote Dave Champion. It is the duty of the patriot to protect his country from its government. I'll see you later. D. McClung, Archer Monologues.